Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. We're going to do a video all about the Doom Tower bosses that we know so far. Before I get into that, it's been my 1 year anniversary on YouTube today, and we're doing a celebration stream tonight on Twitch, Hell Hades TV. I will link that below. It's going to be starting at 8 PM UK time, 3 PM EST, and we're going to be doing loads of giveaways. So 10 lots of gems, energy, and silver for Raid. Big chunks of Dracoins for Dragon Champions. 5 Incarnate Keys as well. All done tonight. Come and join me for that. And we'll have a blast. Fiction has also done like a celebratory video to see like 1 year in the life of Hell Hades. I don't know what it's like yet. We're going to watch it together. I literally have got no idea what he's put in the video, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, let's get on with the video. More information has dropped. Actually, it's been mined out of the game. I saw this yesterday and I thought I'd get myself well prepared to deliver a video. So this is going to be about the 4 main bosses. What we don't yet know is the sub-level bosses, if this is like a mix of that as well. Because basically what we do know is there's 120 floors in the Doom Tower. And at each level 10, there's going to be a different boss, as you can see in this clip. And then when you get to floor 120, you fight a main boss. And this says 100, but when we get the actual information, we've been told 120. So that means you're going to be fighting 11 sub-bosses before you then get onto the main boss. And what it looks like is the main boss could be one of 4. We've got the information on the main bosses. We don't have any information, as far as I know, on the sub-bosses. So the main bosses could be one of 4. And let me talk you through who they are, what they do, and then maybe we can start to formulate some plans to be able to beat them. And let me tell you now, they look tough. They look tough. They look like they break what we would normally do to be able to overcome bosses so far in the game. So we've got a list here. Hopefully, I could just read through these different things. So Adref the Nether Spider, boss 1. Now it says boss 1 of 4. It may well be that this is the first boss that we face on the first reset of the tower. I don't know. But basically, there's going to be a rotating main boss. One of these 4. We're not sure which one it's going to be, but it would make sense that 1 of 4 is the first boss. So, Adref the Nether Spider. Different abilities it's got then. Attacks all enemies, places 5% poison for 4 turns. Repeat the attack for each spiderling without buffs. This cannot be resisted or blocked. So when I say it kind of breaks the game in terms of what we normally do, you know, bringing in your block debuff champions like we do in Faction Wars right now is not going to stop these poisons coming on. Next ability, spawns 4 spiderlings and puts counterattack on them for 3 turns. Attacks all enemies with spiderlings if at least 1 is spawned. So if there's 4 there that are already there, all it's going to do is put counterattack on the 4 that are there. If one of them has been killed off, so if you've killed 1, he's going to spawn another one, and then they're all going to attack you. So there's potentially some logic or some strategy here to say maybe you're meant to not kill those spiderlings. Maybe you're meant to find a way to negate them without killing them. So another ability here, counterattacks when enemy decreases his turn meter. The damage that he counterattacks with is equal to the lost turn meter. So if you throw a Heartseeker in there and you 100% wipe out turn meter, you are going to get slammed back with a counterattack. Which makes me think turn meter manipulation could be really costly in this fight. And then another one, attacks all enemies at the start of each turn. This is like a passive. Combust poisons. So he's putting the poisons on you anyway as one of his abilities. Combust those poisons and increase the debuff duration when attacked. Then places weakened. So ton of stuff going on with his abilities here. Actually looks really tough. Lots of debuffs coming on you. You can't block those debuffs. Other adds in terms of spiderlings to deal with. If you kill them, potentially you're putting yourself in more danger. So it feels to me like you probably need to be freezing or stalling the spiderlings whilst taking out the boss with a lot of single target damage, I think. The spiderlings then, what do? Attack all enemies and place 5% poisons for 2 turns. Cannot be resisted or blocked. So, I mean, when you start to think you've got the boss placing 5% poisons, you've got each of the spiderlings placing 5% poisons, very quickly you are taking a ton of damage. There's also some cool stuff here. So if you think about masteries, where there's a mastery in the offensive tree where you gain more damage for debuffs being on you. I can't show you right now, so the game's in maintenance, but the same sort of mastery you would use with Gerptuk on your team could be really useful against this boss. So cannot be resisted, and then a second ability heals the main boss by 10% each time a spiderling counterattacks. So don't forget, they counterattack as one of his abilities if he spawns one. So basically, if he spawns a spiderling, they're going to hit you. If they hit you, they're going to heal the boss by 10%, which is tons. Places ally protection on Agref whenever counterattack is removed or expires. So if you try and cleanse that off, he's gonna get ally protection on him. Ally protection means the spiderling takes half of his damage, which means that you're killing the spiderlings whilst you're killing the boss, which means eventually you're going to kill one, and then he's going to spawn one, and then they're going to do all those crazy abilities. So there's a ton going on. It's going to be really fun to kind of work out the mechanics and work out the best type of team comps to deal with this boss. But already, boss 1 sounds tough, really tough, like in terms of team makeup. So let's go on to boss 2 then. Kuldaf, the Magma Dragon. So I think we can just see what some of these actually look like. Let's just ping through some of the images so you can get a feel for what they're looking like. Each of the different bosses, by the way, drops their own gear sets, which I've spoken about in another video before, but I can talk about that again at the end here. But obviously, like Raid do, they've put some very cool artwork into the different bosses that we're coming up against. This is another one of the spiderling bosses. This might be the first spider I've spoken about. I'm not sure. I guess it is. But yeah, that's concept art. But again, very cool kind of visuals on it. So, we've got second boss then. Attacks one enemy, halves their turn meter. 50% reduction of turn meter. Will target enemies under Hex. So, Hex is an ability that the Minotaur does right now. It's the only place in the game, I think, that does Hex at all. Basically means you're going to take double damage. It's a really cool ability, actually. I'm glad they're bringing it in again because it's pretty unique at the moment, but actually a really cool one to put out there. Second ability, attacks all enemies, instantly activates HP burn, and decreases the duration by 1. Decreases the duration of what? We don't actually know. I guess attacks all enemies, instantly activates HP burn, and decreases maybe the duration of the HP burn. Because the next ability here, he places the HP burn on for 3 turns. So it might be he places that on for 3 turns. His second ability, which I just read there, activates the HP burn, so causes it to hurt you, but it also ticks it down a turn. So the third ability then places HP burn for 3 turns, then steals 10% turn meter from enemies under HP burn. Places a Hex debuff on the lowest HP target, and it cannot be resisted. So again, just throwing out there block debuffs, it's not going to work here. Places a Hex debuff on an enemy whenever they have a Hex debuff removed, so it's just going to constantly be reapplied. But it looks like it's only placing it on one person, so your lowest HP person. So I guess you just want to build an absolute tank who is low HP, really high defense, so that he can take that damage. And then you kind of focus all of the HP damage on him. All of the Hex damage on him. Ignores block damage, shield, and unkillable, and 100% of enemies under Hex. Remove HP burn from Dragon and replace with continuous heal. So if you put a burn on him, I don't know, maybe he puts a burn on himself. I'm not entirely sure where that's coming from there. Ignores block damage, shield, and unkillable. Makes sense. I think that's probably meant to be 100% on enemies under Hex. Removes HP burn from the Dragon and replaces it with heals. And he cannot... he's got immunity, but it excludes provoke. So I guess this is his passive here. This must be his passive ability. So again, lots going on with this boss. Loads of turn meter control on you. HP burns on you. Feels like maybe someone like a Doom Priest could be huge here to remove stuff like the HP burns, or somebody who's going to cleanse them off. Someone like a Morcine Mage or Skartorsis or someone like that who's going to cleanse your team. Feels like it could be really useful. Doesn't look like Hex is going to be able to come off, so you want a big tank to deal with that. But again, it's going to be really interesting working out the ways to take this boss down. So the third one then is the Frost Spider, which was the first one we saw in my kind of visual a minute ago. Attacks all enemies, places, decrease accuracy. Now, recently we found out how effective this is when we're throwing it on bosses. They're going to be throwing it onto you, so you're going to have your accuracy halved, which is huge actually to try and get your debuffs away. Attacks all enemies, places block buffs and heal reduction on frozen enemies. Places decreased speed and decreased attack on people not frozen. So all of those debuffs are actually brutal. And then we've got a kind of cleanse ability here. So removes all buffs from enemies, then attacks and places freeze 100%. Chance reduced to 50% if Soraf is under HP burn. Fills turn meter by 20% for each freeze that he places. So it feels like you're going to have to HP burn on him. So you're going to have someone that does an HP burn, so that you get that chance down to 50. At least you've got a 1 in 2 chance of not being burnt, not being frozen. And if you're frozen, then you can't get your buffs up. You can't get and heal reduction. So there's a kind of ton of stuff here that you need to think about in terms of your kit to make sure you're not getting completely locked out of the game. When attacked, has 20% chance to freeze straight out. Increases the defense and the resistance if not under HP burn. So again, HP burn is like a must, even if it's single target here. Revives Soraf with 50% HP and a full turn meter. This must be a passive. And skills reset if killed while not under HP burn. So there you go. Also spawns 2 spiderlings, 2 max. So this looks like, again, an interesting boss. All of the mechanics on these 3 different bosses, all very different. It's kind of stretching your resources, stretching your roster to be able to deal with different type of encounters. And that's actually really cool. So Soraf has got spiderlings as well. He's got 2. Spiderlings' abilities then remove all debuffs from Soraf. So even if you've got the HP burn out there, they're going to be able to clean that off. And the second one, instantly transfer decreased defense and weaken to this spiderling if not under leech. Will convert debuffs to weaker versions on transfer. Awesome. So again, it looks like you have to bring in a leech champion, AoE leech or single target leech. Otherwise, these spiderlings are going to be taking your decreased defense and weakens and transferring them back to you, but with the smaller version. So tons going on. We've got to deal with multiple adds. We've got to get HP burn out there. We've got to get leech out there. We've got to be cleansing our people. And at the same time, we've got to be able to take some punishment. So really cool third boss. Then the last one then for this, Borgoth, the Scarab King. Attacks all enemies, places decrease attack and speed. Extra hit on enemies with no shield. Extra hit, places provoke. So attacks all enemies, decrease attack and speed as a given. If you don't have a shield, he places an extra hit, which is going to place a provoke on you, which basically means you can only use A1s. So that's pretty huge as well. So you need shield champs in your team. You need shield sets. Shield sets, but also someone who's going to be placing a shield on your team. Otherwise, that's quickly going to run out, that shield set. Attacks all enemies on his second ability. Places an extra hit for each buff. Each extra hit steals 1 random buff if no shield, or removes 1 buff if shielded. Wow. Places true fear if no buffs are stolen, or fear if no buffs are removed. Wow, so much stuff coming at you here. And then we've got a decreased damage received according to how much HP has been decreased. Decreases the damage received according to how much HP has been decreased. Damage received is minus 90% if max HP decreased is less than 10. Wicked, that's really cool. So I was actually talking about this in another video that I thought enemy max HP would be a mechanic that they would start to implement. So this boss, you're going to have to take down his max HP with abilities or with gear before you start hitting him properly. Otherwise, he gets tons of damage mitigation. Counter attacks when attacked by enemy with no shield. So you need constant shields. You need to be able to decrease his enemy max XP. And you need to be cleaning off buffs from yourself, as well as making sure you've got buffs on yourself so that you don't end up getting completely feared out of the game. tons to go, like tons to work through, tons to theory craft with those things. That's just like opening the door, see what you think. I actually think, wow, awesome. 4 great sounding new bosses, all with very different setups. Can't wait to get into it in like 3 weeks time and actually try this stuff out. So guys, leave me a comment below. What's your thoughts? If you guys have got some real plans or thoughts against each of these bosses, we do have a Doom Tower section of the Discord now. You can come and join us there. Don't forget, I'm doing a giveaway on my stream tonight, which is 8 p.m. British time or 3 p.m. EST. It's going to be Raid, Gems, Energy and Silver. It's going to be Dragon Champions, Dracoins, and it's going to be Incarnate Keys. It's going to be giveaway crazy on stream tonight. Come and join me then. I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you later.